Why do INFJs make fantastic mentors and coaches? And why is it so important for you to have a mentor and a coach? Before we answer that particular question, if you'd like to learn more about your INFJ personality, I'd love to give you a free copy of my book, The INFJ Personality Guide. And you can get a copy of this book that'll help you understand your mindsets and what motivates you and causes you to do what you do, as well as hopefully give you an awareness that you're not messed up or broken, but that you're just different. You can get this book by going to infjbook.com and grabbing a totally free copy there. I'll start with a story. A few years back, I knew that I wanted to start some kind of online business. I wanted to help people. I wasn't really sure exactly what that was going to look like, but I knew that I had interests in creating and in researching and in sharing ideas, particularly in writing, but I needed someone to show me how to do it and really if there was a way to make money doing it. So I did some research and I found someone who I really thought knew his stuff and could show me the way to do it, and someone I respected from what I was reading. And I went ahead and took the leap, and I paid him, get this, I thought I was insane for doing it at the time. I paid him $3,000 for 8 meetings. And while I thought I was absolutely nuts, it was really one of the best decisions that I ever made, because that person became a great mentor for those beginning sessions, but not just for that time frame, because I did apply what he learned and I really took it seriously because of the investment I made. And here's a side note off of that while I'm thinking about that is anything that you really want to do deep down in your core, can you put a price tag on that? If God in making you put that in you from the beginning and you know that it's always been there and maybe you've been putting it off and you've wanted to do it for a really long time, can you really put a price tag on that thing? I think that's debatable, but I got more than I bargained for working with this gentleman because I continued to learn from him. He not only gave me the time that I spent with him, but he gave me many of the courses that I didn't even buy just as a way to serve me. He went above and beyond in his mentoring and the way he showed an example and taught me. But he also then gave me an opportunities to work for him and his business. I learned from him in that environment. And then I got to be a part of his coaching community as well and just learned there. And I continue to learn from him today. Even now, I was watching a video that he made the other day, and it was so helpful. It brought back such an important and helpful insight. And really, without that jumpstart, without the confidence that he had in me, the encouragement, and the input that he gave me, I don't think that I'd be doing what I'm doing today. So again, why should you mentor other people? Why should you coach other people? Why is it so good for you to have a mentor and coach? Well, if we look at how you're wired and we look at the mindsets that drive you based on your personality, I know most of you know about the traits, the introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging, and those are valuable and we should continue to dive into them. But if you look at what really drives your personality underneath the hood, there are 4 mindsets. The first one is called introverted intuition, and this is the most influential in your personality. And what it loves to do is think about the future, and it also loves to collect information, to connect the dots, and to drill down to the most helpful solution, among other things. It's a really creative trait. It can do a lot of wonderful things, but those are some of the key aspects. And that's a really valuable tool when you're trying to help somebody else take the next step of growth. Another interesting aspect or part of introverted intuition is that it's interested in a variety of things. So over time, you can accumulate a lot of great experiences and even master your expertise to a certain level in those abilities. I think a lot of wise people have introverted intuition because they tend to know a lot about a lot of areas. That's a great trait to have for someone who's advising someone in the next step of life. But you know what? INFJs also have a secondary function. We call this the auxiliary function, and it's called extroverted feeling, because every personality has a combination of introverted functions or mindsets and extroverted functions or mindsets that cause them to do what they do. So they have some balance there. So we like to take the information that we learn and acquire, and the extroverted feeling is what we do with it then. We then use it in the service of others. We love to help others. Now, We also love to grow personally. That's for sure. That's a big aspect of introverted intuition and extroverted feeling together. But we get a lot of joy from helping other people grow too. And this is a big reason why INFJs make such wonderful coaches and mentors, people that love helping other people who are serious about growing take the next step of growth, whether that's in a paid relationship or just informally. A lot of people come for advice or just a listening ear, which really is a big part of coaching and mentoring. So those two combined together are really special. And the interesting thing about introverted intuition, that first mindset being the dominant in an INFJ's personality, is that it makes that person great at one-on-one relationships. An INFJ can be a great listener for an extended period of time and get down to the heart of the matter, what the person really wants to figure out, and then offer and deliver timely advice when it's really needed. So those are some great mindsets, some great strengths to bring to the table that make you a great coach and mentor. And just another quick story. There's one gentleman that I've been working with, I shouldn't say working with, I've been meeting with for about 10 years. I started meeting with him about 10 years ago through a program at my church. And I have really met with him almost monthly, at least probably monthly or every other month for about a decade. And he's been an incredible encouragement and blessing to me. I still meet with him and he's still helping me to grow. And through our time together, he's helped me through so many of life's ups and downs and helped me to be more wise, more efficient, to gain a better perspective, to be less idealistic and more realistic. He's brought such balance where I wanted to just focus inwardly. He's helped me focus more outwardly. It's been really a wonderful compliment. He's actually an ESTJ of all personality types, but a really gracious one that's benefited me significantly. And really because of him, I'm doing what I'm doing today as well. And I'm also taking some time to mentor some other young men, which has been really one of the biggest blessings in my life. One of the things that I've enjoyed most in the past year and a half. It's just been completely a wonderful experience. So because of your mindsets and based on my personal experience, those first two mindsets make you as an INFJ a great mentor and coach. And again, you can do it informally, but if you would ever like to do it formally, whether paid or not, I think it's a great avenue for you to use your gifts to invest in other people. So if you haven't thought about it and you're looking for someone to affirm you, to encourage you to that end, to give you permission per se, then I'd love to encourage you to that end because I think you can be a real blessing to somebody else. I think you can be a real boost. You have the gifts to do just that. Let's take a look at a couple other mindsets. The last two, the tertiary and inferior mindsets, are introverted thinking and extroverted sensing, respectively. Now, the introverted thinking helps you think philosophically to some extent, but it also helps you organize knowledge in a logical format and also think really efficiently too. So that can be helpful again when you're taking a bunch of information and you're processing it. But when you balance it with extroverted feeling, the introverted thinking and extroverted feeling make you a pretty balanced decision maker. You can be empathetic, which coaches and mentors need to be. They need to be sensitive and empathetic, but there's also a time and place for delivering the truth that nobody else is going to tell someone. That sometimes is the most beneficial and helpful gift that you can ever give somebody. The absolute, pure and honest, for the good of the other person, truth. Because if they don't hear that, they're not actually going to grow. But the introverted intuition with the introverted thinking also makes you a really interesting problem solver. And those two paired together can help you put together a great plan to help somebody take the next steps. There are other benefits of introverted thinking, and there are other synergies that come from your mindsets working together. But these are just a few that make you a great mentor and coach. And the last mindset that I just want to touch on briefly is that extroverted sensing, the inferior one. Now, it's not your greatest strength, but of course it has benefits. And one of the benefits that comes into play when you're coaching or mentoring is that it makes you a really practical person. You're not just going to have, hopefully, and this will grow with time, you're not just going to have idealistic, untenable, out of this world ideas. You're going to want to apply what you learn and what you know to help somebody, to help yourself grow in a practical way. You're going to want to see it happen. And you're probably going to get frustrated if you give helpful advice to someone who talks a good game but doesn't put it in practice. You probably are hard on yourself in that area. You want to take what you learn and then you want to do it. Or if you struggle to do that in some area, you might feel frustrated. So this is a good thing. This is a really important aspect of being a coach. When you are helping someone, you want to see that person actually grow. The person who's working with you, whether again, paid or unpaid or just informally, wants to grow. So that's a great mindset, a great strength that you bring to the table as well. So if you've never thought about being a coach or mentor, or you do it informally, or you're wondering if you should do it more, I encourage you to that end if and when you have the interest and time. And one of the best ways to learn to do it is to practice it and to grab books about it, to listen to podcasts about it, to just watch and learn and try and get better at it. And I think you have the potential, if you have the desire, to do it really, really well. And not only that, you've heard me mention already that one of the best ways to grow as a mentor is to have a mentor. So not only should you be pouring into other people, and again, I keep saying mentoring, but it can be mentoring or coaching. I think there's some interchangeability going on here. But one of the things that I want to challenge you to do is to find a coach or a mentor of your own. And don't be afraid to pay somebody for it. I don't think that's ever going to be a waste of money. You're only going to get bang for your buck if you find somebody who is worth his salt and is worth investing in. You want to do some research and talk to some people, of course, but it's never a bad idea to invest money in your growth if you're serious about it, because there's something about putting some money on the table that will really make you want to take the next steps. And just to be honest, I think most INFJs really want to grow anyway, but that's a great way to do it. But not every coach or mentor you find has to be a paid coach. I think they're valuable and I think you should find them. But you can also find mentors and coaches that are unpaid. And they don't always have to be in a formal coaching relationship or mentoring relationship like mine has been with this friend who I've met with for like 10 years. Sometimes if you see somebody doing something well and you want to learn from them, you just go and you ask them questions. That's a phenomenal way to continue to grow. Just meet with that person, affirm, encourage that person because they may not hear it a lot, and then tell him or her, or ask him or her rather, questions. Hey, how did you get to do that so well? Why are you such a good coach or mentor? Why are you such a great whatever fill in the blank it is, whatever skill that person is learning that you really appreciate or admire? Ask questions about that. And they'll just appreciate the kind feedback or that you have interest in them and that you're affirming them. Another way to do it is to come alongside that person and just ask if you can help with whatever they're doing, because I'm sure they could use some extra help in a lot of circumstances, especially help that they don't have to pay for. And then while you're alongside that person, you can be having a conversation or you can be watching and learning from what they're doing. So it doesn't have to be a formal, but oftentimes those sorts of engagements turn into formal mentoring and coaching if the relationship turns out to be good. And it's a really easy way for you and the other person to get to know each other without having to make a commitment ahead of time. So it's a good way to get connected. Another thing to keep in mind is that there's not really going to be a one-size-fits-all mentor that covers all areas of your life. Maybe you'll find somebody like that, but often we learn from a variety of people. So don't feel like you have to find this one person that's going to do it all, and don't try to put that sort of yoke on somebody's shoulders, because it's really one it's too much to carry and it's unrealistic. Try to find a variety of people that can teach you and help you to grow. And if you're waiting and you're trying to figure it out, one of the best places to learn and grow, again, is from books. I mentioned, I think in a previous video, a book called Dead People Make the Best Mentors by Steve Moore. And it was a great book for me. It pointed out that some of the best leaders that we've ever had, some of the best thinkers, have written their best thoughts in books and biographies. And we can learn from their entire lifetimes boiled down to great insights and takeaways made just for you and me. So if nothing else, grab a hold of those, make a commitment to continue to learn from coaches and mentors that way. And if you don't think you have time, it's amazing how much time you have just when you're riding in your car. If you get an audiobook, or if you have an iPhone or Samsung or something and you get an ebook and you just swipe down from the top and make it read to you, it's pretty listenable. You'd be surprised how much you can listen to. I think one year I listened to like 80 books. Now they weren't all full-length books, but I was just listening to short books while I was doing the dishes or I was riding in my car. It's an amazing way to listen and continue to learn. So I encourage you, because you're an INFJ, to consider mentoring and coaching, and also getting a mentor and coach as well. Thanks so much for watching and listening today. I hope that the show encouraged you. And I'd love to know down in the comments below, have you ever paid for coaching or mentoring? Or have you ever benefited from it? Or do you currently coach and mentor other people? I think we can definitely learn from your experiences. And I'd love to know your thoughts, so share them down below. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show.